my mind. I am a victim. Or sister cry.
I was lip syncing right there.
I'm gonna tell you about the afterlife. I'm gonna tell you about what happened last night. I'm gonna tell you about my insanity. Yeah.
That wasn't lip syncing that part, but the other part I was lip syncing because I was just doing this. And then I stopped when I stopped singing.
And I got to apologize
So,
for
is it live?
last week because I said that was episode 39 and it was actually episode 38. So this is actually episode 39. My bad.
39.
Si, senor.
So, this portion of the show is brought to you by Cartwright's Drain Service, Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service, 480-987-8051. Call them today to get your septic drained.
Yeah.
They just came out and did my septic tank. Dude, they fucking rocked, man. Like, they let little man, like, climb up on the excavator,
saw
which
your
little
picture.
man corrected me because I was like, yeah, I was like walking away and little man climbed up on the trailer and shit. And I was like, oh, look, little man's a skid steer. He's like, it's excavator pop. I'm like, my bad.
Good
my
for
bad.
him.
So then Jake's home. So Jake took pictures of little man on the excavator and legit, dude, they were so good. And I've had plenty of contractors in my yard that have completely fucked it up. And you know who you are. Not you, Mike, because you don't live in Arizona.
And
But
I'm
you
not
know
a
who you are.
contractor. Not
Fucking
even on TV.
contractors. Ezekiel Gonzalez. Ezekiel Gonzalez, you can fucking suck a donkey dick until it explodes and blows up your esophagus and your stomach and you die. He's a fucking terrible contractor.
I felt that
And
way
this one
about quite a few
fucknut who
contractors.
delivered sand. Right. And this one fucknut that delivered sand, he had one job: don't destroy my yard. And when I drive my tractor and my lawn tractor doing my yard work, I'm in front of my playground and shit you not, it's like I'm 4-wheel drive. Lawn tractors are not 4-wheel drives. And I called him out and he was a little fucking bitch. But this guy, Cartwright Drain Service, holy smokes. The only reason I know he was there is because he had to dig a hole, but then he leveled it off and he put water on it so it leveled with the ground. Only evidence of him being here today.
Very nice.
That's it. That is how phenomenal they take care of their clientele. That and the fact I've referred them business. So I don't know if that had a play in it, but I'm going to assume no, it had no play in it at all. They're just super terrific people. They get the job done. Super terrific people. I'm here to
I
tell
love
you.
it when
Super terrific. And speaking of super,
I love it when you're incapable of doing a job and you find someone that has as much passion
Yes.
for that job as you do for your own or for your art or for whatever you do.
Right.
You know, it's refreshing. Like they
Right.
want to do a good job and it means something to them and they're happy that you're happy. I love that relationship. I look for that in whatever I need done and I hang on to those people for however long they do it, you know? Because sometimes it's worth paying a little more money to get the job done right the first time. Right? Money isn't
I
everything.
could not agree with you more, Michaels. Money isn't everything.
Now when you gotta
Quality
pay for
work
it twice.
and pride in your work. Exactly. And here's a true story. Okay, here's another slam. Mesa Septic. They're a company in Arizona. Mesa Septic. Let's not use them ever, fuckers. Okay, you come across a septic company called Mesa Septic, turn the page, delete, move on. They said when we bought this house that our septic tank was beneath the 2-car garage that we built. Okay, so we in order to have built the addition, and they said the septic tank was there just west of the existing 2-car garage at the time of the main house. Shit you not, they sent me a graph when I called them up, and that's where the septic tank was. So I had somebody come out and do some digging to see where the septic tank was at so we could relocate the lines and relocate the tank. Dude, the fucking septic tank is like in the middle of the northwest pasture of my yard, nowhere near the house. That's how bad Mesa Septic was. OfferPad used them,
smokes.
and OfferPad paid them $1,000 to say that's where the tank was. Nope, not there. Fucking liars. So, Mesa Septic, stay away. Cartwright Drain Service Inc., Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. They're outstanding. If you live,
Top notch.
maybe obviously if you live in Illinois, they're not going to come to you, Mike.
No,
They're not going to come to you, Mike. It's in Arizona. It's at Queen Creek. No, and they won't come to you. And I'm Queen Creek Gilbert border, and they still came to me. So I think they kind of do more than just Queen Creek, but they're outstanding. I refer them. So this is the first time I've used them. So I'm excited that they did a stand-up job for me, and I'm going to continue to use them and refer them because they fucking just did a great job. They just did a great job.
I love that.
it's
Got a problem? Get it solved. Move on.
Yeah. Right. Move on.
Beautiful.
Move on. It is beautiful. So, that's what's what. So I understand on the way to your living room one night, you watched the Republican National Convention.
I did.
And
It
you
was,
watched what
It was a lot like
the MAGA had to say.
It was a lot like a rock concert. I will give them that. They know how to.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So like
Okay.
the old guard Republicans, the ones that are left, are freaking out because they don't like that shit. They're the Republicans that we hated as kids.
No.
Crotchety old men.
Yeah.
And they're still crotchety old
Right.
men. They're just older. So I will give them
Right.
the simple fact that they know how to ignite, unfortunately, a very cult-like following. There was people that had the ear patch on. That's a level of
Yes.
That's a level of
Can I
commitment.
inject
Hold
ear
on one
patch?
second, and I'll allow you. Because this is a brilliant.
I will hold on one second.
That is a level.
It's just you're a brilliant motherfucker.
I am not. I'm being funny. This is a level of commitment to an
You're a
individual
brilliant
that
motherfucker.
you.
Come on now.
This is a level of commitment to an individual that you do not know on a level that I will never understand. I'll leave it at
Case in
that.
point.
Okay.
What did Grandpa Joe do to this country? Grandpa Joe convinced 160 million people, 162 million at least, because we know there's 81 million voted for him and 81 million voted for Trump. So let's call it 162 million people. Okay. He convinced 162 million people to wear masks. So really, what's the difference? I got a little patch on my ear from getting shot at, or I'm going to wear a mask. And there's still fucking people to this day that wear masks. I shit you not, my friend. I was driving down the freeway.
I agree with you.
Not what was it? The 202. The 202.
That shit was ridiculous.
A 4-door sedan. Right, a 4-door sedan, no tinted windows, and kid you not, passenger driver, full on mask. So, who's the better cult leader? Right? I'm going to say Biden because he got fucking 162 million people to wear masks. Trump didn't tell people to put ear patches on. They just did it out of I want to be a follower because let's face it, half the world are followers, and
That makes him a better cult
this
leader.
many are leaders. And
You don't tell people they're in the cult.
It makes Biden.
No.
Okay,
we're
that's true.
If
I'll
we're
give you
talking
that. That's
sheer numbers,
that's a good insight.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
all those people.
Biden's
all
the
those
Jim
people.
Jones of politics.
He is, because all those people
Yeah.
are incapable or unwilling to think for themselves, right? At least your Trump supporters think for themselves.
Right.
What they're failing to see is nothing
Agreed.
really changes. It was the environment.
No.
At the time,
It was the Chinese, man. The Chinese did it.
it's just economics, man. Things go up, they go down. The president has nothing to do with the price of gas. Do you think them Saudis over there give a shit what who's president? They just pump oil or they don't pump oil. Do we want to make money?
Well,
Do we want to build another soccer stadium? Would we like to build a city in the middle of the ocean? Let's raise the price of gas. Because BP, Exxon, Shell, they all made record profits last year. Every one of them.
That's the guacamole sign. That's a guacamole sign for the users that can see us. If you're watching
So now
YouTube,
my
that's the
question
guacamole
is,
sign. Do that.
what the
Guacamole.
fuck does the president
So here-
have to do with any of that?
Yes. The president has to do with this, Mr. Michaels, and that's a great question, and
Lay it
I
on
will
me.
take that with my minute of response time.
You got all
Trump
the time in the world. It's
Wanted
your
to
podcast.
open. Trump wanted to open up drilling on United States soil and tap into our own reserves, our own fossil fuels, so we had our own oil reserves more than we do now. So we were no longer dependent on the people overseas in the other lands, right? As soon as Biden took office, he stopped all that, just like he stopped the wall. We talked about the wall before. Arizona is completely fucked because
That's
of the
only
wall
partially
not being
true.
secured. We're the number one state in the right.
I
But
just saw
had-
an
had
article that said
his-
we
okay, his-
exported
his
more oil
administration.
last year than any other year prior to that. So whatever the headline says is not true
Interesting.
because they're pumping more oil than they ever have. I just read it yesterday.
I wonder why he shut down the pipelines then.
Because we didn't need that
Because Trump
shit.
wanted the pipelines
we already
opened up
had
to pump,
an
you know.
infrastructure set up that was capable of kicking ass.
Capable of kicking ass. Did you turn off my water? What? What's that? Oh,
What up,
did you turn
Jake?
off my water outside? Are you leaving? Oh. Hey, he just said hi to you.
What's up?
What up, dude? How's it going?
None. No, just chilling. You?
Welcome home.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm here for
What's he holding? Oh, an Oreo.
5 days
I
now.
was like,
I
what
got
the
him
fuck's he
Thursday.
holding up?
No, I was like, yeah, it's weird shit.
It's going good.
He told me to keep it brief, so I'm gonna have to bounce.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to having you back on, man.
I gotta pick up. Yeah. We'll see. I gotta pick up my nephew from school, so
All right. Later, brother.
I pick him. Yeah.
Peace.
That was staff. That was Sergeant Jacob Dunham. Water. Don't forget the water, son. Thank you.
Don't forget the water.
All right, thank you. I got to put this back down. Well, I have this soaker hose that I found, and I lined it on the eastern border of my front yard to help expedite the growth of the hop seed to block out the fucking piece of shit Young family, so they can't see me.
Okay.
And there's this little spot, there's a little gap with these three little hop seed. They just don't want to grow. So figure you have this whole line of blockage and then just little pocket that's just not growing. So since I got the soaker hose and I soak it a couple of times a week for about an hour, I'm getting irrigation tomorrow, so I'm soaking it for like 2 hours today. So the water doesn't get up there because it's on a little bit of a uphill. So hopefully in the next 6 months that's filled up and it's good. And then I'm going to have it shaped and looking pretty. Looking very, very pretty. So that was Sergeant Jake, drill instructor, Marine Corps. So go ahead. You got a what?
I got a good water story
You got a
for
fart?
you. No.
Oh, right on. I like water.
Yes, but no.
Go ahead. Tell me your water story.
So when you were telling Jake to shut the water off, I immediately have PTSD because when I was living with Kevin, I fell asleep on the couch. The autofill for the pool was broke, and I decided to lay down and watch TV.
Yeah.
And about 6 hours later, Nick came home and asked me if I was filling the pool up. And I said, oh, fuck. There was about 2 inches of water throughout the entire backyard, all the way up to the back door. Yeah, we had like a, I don't know, $400 or $600 water bill that month.
Wow.
And that would have been in like 1996, you know? So that was an expensive water bill. Probably an $800 water bill
super
today.
happy.
Well, Mike got to pay for the water bill.
Kevin,
you know?
yeah, he was.
Yeah, he wasn't thrilled at all. I'm picking up your sarcasm, and you would be 1,000,000% correct. Yeah, he wasn't amused. And, you know, nor should he have been. I flooded his fucking backyard.
Right.
We had a laugh about it afterwards.
Yeah, but you should have been like, dude. You should have been like, dude, I got a kayak and I want to try it out. And I knew the only way to try it out would be to float in the yard and kayak into the pool. So, you know, that's the way to go.
Pool's full.
That's the way to go. Pool is full. So we were talking about squirrels and the Republican National Convention, and you were talking about the rock show they put on. So continue that, because ironically enough, I didn't catch it. I missed it. We were working out, and then I came home and I like wanted highlights, and there was no highlights. I'm like, well, that fucking sucks. So let me know. Tell me the story. Spin the tale. Because the only thing I remember about anything about conventions is when Rob Lowe hooked up with those two chicks that were underage at a convention. I think it was Republican National Convention, and he got in trouble for it because he was, you know, diddling two underage. But they were in a bar, so it's kind of like, well, they're in a fucking bar. If you meet a chick in a bar, you automatically assume they're 21 and older because they're in a bar, right?
Correct.
So apparently they weren't under. They were under 21, and I don't think Rob Lowe really got in that much trouble.
I remember that
trouble.
now. I was trying to remember when that.
Yeah.
Okay, now, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was all over the news for a long time.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
and
two
shortly
funniest.
after, I think, is when he married.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just say shortly after that, I think he married his makeup person or hairstylist, and he's still married to her today. So she married up, because if you ever see her, it's
not
like, Rob, dude, you're fucking Rob Lowe. Like, you could have done
man.
so much better, man. Like,
you're part of the Brat Pack.
Like, come on, like, right? And just, dude can't act for shit. Like, he's that kind of like, you know, he's the same everywhere he goes. But
if they give him the right
Rob Lowe,
role,
man.
he does.
Come on, dude. True. He's kind of like Keanu Reeves. The less Keanu speaks, the better his roles are.
Correct.
You know,
Absolutely.
And I love Keanu Reeves as a human.
I do too.
That dude is a fucking human being. That is everybody should aspire to be Keanu Reeves, a human. Because
Agreed.
From a human standpoint, that dude just is the most unselfish, humble, genuine, and I don't know him, but just you can't. All the stories and all the urban legends about him can't be wrong, because you hear about them all the time in so many different levels and so many different aspects and in everyday life. So it's kind of like you hear bad shit about people, like you just could be bad people.
That's what I was just going to say. Name me one bad thing he's ever done.
Right. You can't.
Most people can't.
Like, legit. And
that
it's tells
you everything you need to know.
No.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. He's finally found some chick that kind of seems like his soulmate, albeit she's like 15 years older than him. But everything you see about that, he's just super happy. And so it's for someone who had such a hard personal life with deaths and like his I think it was his wife or soon to be wife. She died, of just sorrow and shit. He could have went the other way, but he didn't. He's one of those people when he dies, it's just, you're going to realize his impact when he's gone, because then all these other stories are going to start popping off and what he does and how he does it. Because he's got to be very philanthropic, but he doesn't do it as a look at me. I don't like when people are philanthropic and it's look at me, look at me, look what I did, look what I did, look what I did. Fuck you. Just do it to do it, man. Like, just do it for your soul. Don't do it for the world to recognize you. That's why it bothers me when you see these sports, figures. Oh, such and such, bought, Christmas presents, which is cool, but you're doing it with a camera crew. Like, just stop. Just do it to do it, man. who is it? Who is it? Work done. Remember Work Done? Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Absolutely.
running back.
Yep.
Dude does phenomenal shit for single mothers, which you don't hear about because he's not look at me. Every now and then there's a story about him. He does phenomenal shit with single mothers. He has programs to get them in the housing and stuff, and they actually own the houses. You got to do the steps and shit. LeBron James, hate the fucking as a basketball player. He's the biggest whiny ass bitch crybaby king of flop ever.
We all agree.
But what he does for his community is fucking unbelievable. The amount of people he's put through college and scholarships, kind of like Cliff Burton's dad.
That's awesome.
The shit that he does behind the scenes,
Or Snoop Dogg.
He should really get right. They really should have more focus on what Queen LeBron does outside of the game, because then I think people would have a different opinion of him. Because I just, from a basketball standpoint, dude, fucking go away. From a human standpoint, the dude has made a massive impact in his community and everywhere around him. Like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg got away with murder, got off and shit. So he turned his life around because he was like, I'm going down the wrong fucking path.
He
so
became
he
a positive
Martha
human
Stewart,
being.
got her all baked and shit, and said, let's map out my future.
Bake me a pie.
Right. Mapped out his future with Martha Stewart and marijuana. Right.
Yeah.
Make me a pie, and I'm going to put
I'm gonna
some
roll
pot
you
in your
one
hand.
up.
We're going to eat that pie.
You're going to make me a pie, and you're going to realize, Martha, that pie never tasted like you could imagine that pie tasted. And she smoked, and he tasted the pie, and he went, I never had pie like that. And she said, I made it, and I never had pie like that either, because she was high as a kite. And everything's better when you're high as a kite. It tastes better. It just does. I can't explain it.
Question though.
Lay it on me.
Did he eat Martha's pie? Did he eat Martha's pie, or did he eat the pie that Martha baked?
As I was painting the imaginary scenario in my mind, I knew that somewhere that was going to be your response. I felt it coming.
You know why they clicked? You know why they clicked? Why they bonded? Why they jived? Because they're both convicts. They're both convicts, man. They both had that in common. They're both in lockdown, fuck you, federal penitentiaries.
Yep. That's a true story.
Both of them. Both of them.
It is still a very odd combination.
I agree with that 100%. 100%.
But awesome.
And Nikki loves Snoop Dogg, and that whole dynamic was so. Back to the scroll. By the way, this portion of the show is brought to you by We Fix Ugly Pools. From renovation creation to complete backyard creation, We Fix Ugly Pools does it all. WeFixUglyPools.com.
I will.
Barry Morse is also running for local
vouch for them too.
Office. I don't know what he's running for. Yeah. So now you can start back to your Republican primary rock star story. Mike, for those of you just joining us, Mike just said that earlier that Donald Trump is a rock star for the Republican National Party. And everybody cheered with him and gave him huge accolades for donning the ear patch colt that was just a little bit smaller than the Biden face mask colt that occupied our lives for 2 years. So go ahead, Mike. The floor is yours. See, I handed it off. See that? I'm handing off. If you can't see us, I'm using my hand across the video screen and handing it off to Mike. There you go. Go ahead.
So first off, we have to remember that the election was in 2020 and COVID started in 2020. So he has some ownership in all of that for the first year before the handoff. We have to make sure our timeline's right.
China did, yes.
Because
China did.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It matters how it was handled from the get-go all the way through till the end. So we have to make sure the timeline's right. He started that. He was in charge when it started. That's why it's important. It's important to say that.
He was like,
because people post this image on Facebook that says, "Remember when gas was $1.68?" That picture is from November of 2020.
Right.
When the election happened and COVID was fucking running rampant and nobody was driving. Let's make sure everybody understands that's listening.
Oh yeah.
When you see that fucking picture, that's when it was taken. Because I was driving. I had to go to work every day. We were essential employees.
I was too. Right.
So
I was essential too.
I remember when gas was $1.68.
Hello, essential person.
It didn't last very long.
I do too. It was a It was a great time, man. It was a great time. I remember coming home in rush hour traffic. It'd take me half the time Right. It was fantastic. Like you could get across the valley. I could get to your old house in like 40 minutes, dude,
That's
if
crazy.
I wanted to. Because the one in Glendale where you live with Kevin, because
Yep.
there was just nothing. There's no stopping. Like you could go 80 miles an hour on the freeway and you'd have maybe see 15 other cars.
Like the good
it
old
was the
days
coolest
when
thing
I
ever.
first moved there.
Right. It was America, man. So go on with your rock star story.
So I'm not a fan of anybody, and Chris knows this, and anybody that knows me really well knows this. I'm just not affiliated with anyone. I think the whole
Yep.
system sucks. So let's start with that. The idea of a representative
I agree.
government in 2024 is fucking archaic. I don't need some dickhead that I don't know
Amen.
to go to Washington and speak for me. Because I guarantee
Yep.
you that
Yeah, agreed.
in the study of human nature, I'm way more advanced than that guy that's trying to speak for me, and I'm always on team people. I don't give a fuck about country or nation, or I'm just on team people. I want people to be cool to people. So let's start there.
Mhm.
I will give them credit
Yes.
for
Let's all be cool.
knowing how to arouse a spirit and bring cohesion. I'm careful to say that this is not positive, but they're good at what they do. In that, it's a cult.
Well, yeah, they're sociopaths. Every president every president that we've ever had is a sociopath. And for those who don't understand, a sociopath is that somebody who can manipulate the system, somebody who can twist your words around and make you believe what they're saying, whether they're right or wrong. A sociopath controls that situation. And I mean, think about it. Clinton, amazing sociopath.
Oh,
Obama,
master.
charismatic motherfucker as you're ever going to see. Right. Totally. Both sociopaths. Trump's a bully. Not
You know
a
what a-
sociopath. He's a bully.
You know an
Biden's
example of a
fucking
guy
old
who's not a
dimension, like, I don't know
sociopath?
what the fuck. Go ahead. Yeah. Yes, please.
Junior George Bush. That's what a non-sociopath looks like.
George
that's
W.
That's just a dummy.
Right. That's a dummy who rode the coattails of daddy to get into the office and then used his power to spend 95% of his time on his ranch and making money with the Saudis with the oil wells. So good for him, because the world was not a bad place when George W. was in charge.
Until
It was a little
2001.
weird. It was a little awkward. Right. Well, yeah, he kind of fucked
2001,
that up. But
that
I think,
threw a whole wrench in
we're not
his
going to go down
system.
conspiracy. Yeah. We're not going to go down that, but I think some part of the, yeah, we're not going to. I'm not open up the conspiracy thing because we'll be here for days.
And I'm not going to.
Yeah, let's go back to the
I'm not going to
Rockstar
sit here
conversation, 'cause
and eviscerate Donald Trump either, because he's not stupid.
dude,
he's-
nice word.
He's
Nice
obviously
word, dude.
maintained in the business world for as long as he has without going to prison or going under, right? So with that said,
Correct.
if you do some digging and some research and ask anybody that knows, he's like a D- level businessman. As long as he's not around, everything runs
Oh, yeah.
smoothly. But once he shows up, it all goes to fucking hell.
Yeah.
Those are from the
It gets
words
all
of people that
clusterfuck.
work
Yep.
for him.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too. And
Closely.
and he right and don't be. I mean, it's truth that he's filed bankruptcy thousands of times. Now, a lot of bankruptcies are all about restructuring, so it's not like Chapter 7 to fucking clear the slate, start all over. And lots of businesses from the high corporate level to the little mom and pops have gone through bankruptcy at some point in time. I don't know how many, how much he's done it, but yeah. So true to your point,
Here's the
if he's
reason
not
I
involved. Business is rocking. If he's
Here's the
involved,
reason
it's
I
kinda,
bring
what
that
the
up.
fuck? Yep. Go ahead.
The first 15 minutes of his speech must have been what
Right.
the speech was. Okay. Like he was reading it the way it was written,
Okay.
because it was fucking
Good.
brilliant.
Good.
And if he would have stopped at that 15-minute
Really?
mark when he was quoting the middle of the Pledge of Allegiance, that speech might have gone down in history.
Yeah.
But the last 60 minutes was the most incessant fucking rambling
Yeah.
of bullshit and nonsense. And you know how I am about nonsense. I love it. He didn't say anything.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear one fucking thing that we were going to do to improve this country. What I heard was, here's everything that the other side is doing wrong and how much better I am than they are. And that's what everybody else heard too.
And that has been his, and that's the problem with him, is he can't get out of his own way. Just like you said, the first 15 minutes were fucking stellar. Off the stage, man. See you later. Bye. Leave him one more.
He should have George Costanza.
Like when he did the debates. Right. When he did the debate last time around, when him and Biden were debating, just fucking answer the question and be done, man. Like if he would have just shut his mouth, I think he would have beat Biden the first time around, but he just kept talking. He just kept spinning his
would have beat him by
version
25
of
points.
Truth. And there's truth in everything. Yeah. It's just, fucking dude cannot shut up. Somebody's got to just tell him, shut the fuck up. Answer the question and then shut the fuck up. It's simple. Is the sky blue? Yes, the sky is blue. Can you help with childcare? What can you do? There's nothing I can do with childcare because this is a country that is full of capitalism. Therefore, A, B, C, and D childcare companies, they may all be the same exact providers, but they're going to charge different money. Why? Because they all are in it to make money and to make a living and to retire and move to Costa Rica. You cannot, and it pissed me off at the debate that him and Biden did, because they asked them both that question. You can't control childcare costs. It's impossible. It's fucking impossible. I get the rent control shit. I don't agree with it, but I get it. I don't know how Biden plans to, or whoever now plans to do rent control across the country.
Kamala.
Because again, what's America predicated on? Capitalism. Capitalism is what makes us the great country we are, because everybody has the opportunity. You wake up the same every day. We all wake up the same way. We open our fucking eyes. It's up to us as individuals to determine how we're going to move along that day. And if we want to better our lives, well, guess what? The person in the mirror is the only one that's going to help you better your life. Okay.
So,
you're not going to fucking open the door and somebody will say, oh, here, Chris, here's $30,000. It's not going to happen.
With that said, why should you not have your voice voting in Washington? We can do it now. And the first thing that people are going to say, and you know how I want to do it, the first thing that people are going to say is, we can't be voting on the internet because how are you going to police that? And it's going to be corrupted. And here's how I answer that and shut them up immediately. What do you do? What's the most valuable thing that you do every day in your life online? Be it on your phone, tablet, home computer. What do you do? You're banking.
Sign in. Ooh,
we all trust our banking every day, and no one walks around and has a water cooler conversation. Hey, do you wonder if you're going to get hacked at your bank today? Because, I did an online banking transaction, and, I'm really concerned about that. Nobody talks like that. We might have 15, 18 years ago.
No.
When it was brand new, then nobody wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But you willingly do it every day. And that's the most secure transaction to everyone that's listening to this right now.
Yeah.
So why do you not think that an independent organization could come up with a way for everybody that is of age and sound mind to have a vote?
Exactly.
That's what I want people to start seeing is I'll debate the way the current system is, but the current system's fucking broke. Mm-hmm. You don't need some asshole going to Washington and speaking for you. What do you have in common with that guy? You might have two things in common with him when he leaves for Washington. You got shit in common with him if he becomes a career politician, because he did something to become a career politician. Like he sold you down the river.
He fucked somebody. He stole from somebody. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And not even living in a van. You're just down the river. Down the river. Yeah, and it's true.
It's true. Took your van. You don't even have a van.
Right. Because think about Nikki talked about this. Nikki and I were talking about this the other day.
I have a
way
question for
that
Nikki.
You get
Remind
into
me.
politics is you start. Okay, you start small when you get into politics by getting on school boards, like legit. That's
Correct.
you,
Agreed.
you get local pissant little position, and then you slowly climb that ladder, the
City
political
council, county
ladder. So
board.
you all start politician, right? Right. You all start with the best intentions because let's face it, somebody who joins the school board isn't joining the school board to fucking, I'm gonna change the lunch menu. They just want
Unless
to
they're
be
a child
involved. They want
molester.
to have a reason behind. They have a. This is true.
See how I
They
ruined
They
that?
should all be fucking, strung upside down. No,
Sorry.
but they should. That's a good segue because they should be. No, it's okay.
Keep going.
Visual for you. You take
Just
a child
go.
molester, you hang him upside down on a bucket, like on an excavator bucket, okay? And
Yes.
and you just slowly start slicing pieces of the flesh so he starts to bleed, and as he starts passing out, you smack him in the face, wake him back up,
I
and
love
you
it.
continue just slicing pieces of the flesh
For
so he just
days.
and then you wake back up, slap,
Yes.
slap, slap, slap. I'm fucking talking weeks, man. Like
Okay,
just bleed the
weeks.
guy dry and smack, and then sew everything up, and give him tainted blood that you can't give to other
Keep
people.
giving him IVs.
The blood that people donate that they can't use because I'm
Keep
sure
him
they have
hydrated.
that. Keep giving them bad blood, and just keep beating them, and then just grab the penis and kind of like chop off the tip of it, and then dangle it, put it on a string and just dangle it in front of him. So as he hangs upside down, you just see the tip of his cock just like this.
I
It'd
love
be
this.
outstanding. And then you have people come in that have been molested by people like him, and they just fucking start throwing, shit at him like tar and feather and feces and stuff. Just, make the last month of this person's life just the worst, absolute, most vile existence ever. And then just reopen all those wounds and just leave and come back a month later and they'll be dead, eaten by roaches and rats. And, that is the America that we should live in.
I love it.
Just for child molesters.
Yes. Let's
and,
start with just child molesters.
Yeah, because they're the absolute pieces of shit scum, and I can say that with complete utter conviction. So
I couldn't agree with you more.
You don't want me being a politician because that's my first order.
Don't
That'd
fuck
be my
with the
first
kids.
order of business. Capital punishment, eye for an eye. There's some state. Squirrel. I think Louisiana has I don't want to say legalized it, but they've adopted a law that all child molesters will now be castrated. Convicted child molesters will be
I
castrated.
seem to remember
That's one of the
seeing that
punishments.
somewhere recently.
Yeah, me too.
I think you're right. I think it was Louisiana.
I want to say Louisiana, but don't quote me. But good for them. Good for them.
So, before I forget,
You know what?
the two funniest moments
Yes.
of
don't
that
forget.
night, hands down,
Mhm.
was Hulk Hogan.
Oh, the convention?
Yes,
Okay.
and just the
Oh,
simple
Hulk Hogan was there?
yes, and just the simple fact
No
that
shit.
they used his stage name instead of his real name at an official presidential nominee convention, function, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The United States of America sanctioned presidential event actually said, please welcome Hulk Hogan, not whatever his real name is. Okay, that was one of the funniest. Now, I might be the only person sitting there that found that fucking hilarious. I was dying. Because
That's
if you
awesome.
talk to
That's
anybody that gives a fuck, like they will get mad at you if you're talking shit about America or the politics or you should
Yep.
show whatever
Yep.
kind of respect. You motherfuckers put Hulk Hogan
Yeah.
up there, called him Hulk Hogan, let him rip his shirt off. And I thought it was great. I love Hulk Hogan. He was one of my heroes as a kid. I watched wrestling like a motherfucker. I was like 10 years old,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's not kid anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
I love
He's
the guy.
a real American, man.
But that is not the politics
real
that
American,
I
man.
grew up watching that made me not give a fuck about politics. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I do.
It was more
do.
like a mild Metallica concert. So the second
Okay.
funny thing was they had Lee Greenwood, who was supposed to introduce Donald Trump, and he went on
Oh God.
and on and on, and somebody had the forethought to pan over to Donald Trump, and he was like, come on, let's go. You could totally read his lips. He's like, move it along, you know, whatever he was saying.
Yeah.
I can't remember his exact words, but
Wow.
you could totally read his lips, and it was fucking hilarious. But Lee would not shut the fuck up. So they had to interrupt Lee Greenwood with an automated recording that said, please welcome the presumptive Republican nominee. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I'm not a big Lee Greenwood fan.
I don't like him at all.
Never been a fan of his music, and I kind of, and I think some
I'm going to offend
artists,
everyone right now.
and
America song sucks.
But I agree.
Sorry.
I think he wrote it just because of the time. No, but that's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
Some artists completely took advantage of 9/11.
Yes.
By writing patriotic songs just to write a patriotic song.
Yes.
We're musicians. We're musicians, and you know, not I don't know if integrity musicians in the same vocabulary, but you know, because some musicians are just a complete lack of integrity. But nothing, and you can attest to this. Nothing I ever wrote as the lyricist for the bands that I've been in ever wasn't a mainstream type of concept that was like cash me in. You know what I mean? Everything I wrote was about my life and the different elements of my life growing up and personal experiences and things like that. And I would twist and turn them, and, you know, so they weren't so personal, but nothing of that. It never would have even dawned on me to write a song about 9/11 as an artist, to capitalize on that fucking massive tragic event that like reshaped our world to this day. Like that's taking advantage. We had songs that are American.
So,
the Star Spangled Banner, Purple Mountain's Majesty. Those things should have been played in not other shit.
Here's the only thing I'll say. Okay. And I bet if we use the Google machine, I'm probably going to be accurate on at least one, if not multiple of these statements. If you start Googling the people that wrote those songs, I would almost venture to guess that they gave every dime to fucking charity. So let's just hope that it went to the right charity. You know what I'm saying? So then where do you fall?
That I will, Well, but here's the thing. They may have done that, but in doing so, in writing that song, even though giving it to charities or portions thereof, because I doubt we're capitalistic America. So I doubt they give 100% of the proceeds. I don't doubt they gave something, but it may have elevated their careers, elevated them as artists, which then would have propelled them to more sales. Kind of like the Super Bowl halftime show. The artists that play those, which not everybody may know this or not, but the artists who play the Super Bowl halftime show, they are not paid for that. They have to pay for their production of the halftime show. So if you go up there and you're fucking, let's say, I don't know, say Post Malone goes up there next year and he just stands on stage and sings, and that's his whole gig. He's got his band behind him, and that's it. It's not costing him tons of money to do it.
Right.
Rihanna did her thing a couple of years ago. That had to be a fucking multi-million-dollar show because of all the shit she was doing. They don't make a dime. But what it does is it elevates them as an artist. It brings them back to the forefront in everybody's eyes, and their subsequent online sales skyrocket for the next month or so because holy shit, I remember that song from Rihanna. She's hot. She's this. She's that. Boom. So, do I believe you in that concept? That probably a portion of, or a large portion of, or all of the portion of that specific song went towards charities and restoration, rebuilding, recovery, whatever. But it still took that artist to another level.
The only reason, and I agree with that statement, and that's why I wanted your opinion, because that was very eloquent, thought out. I like the end part. They benefited just as much as the charities benefited, and that's important for people to hear.
Yeah.
So they still did it for some personal gain. I would also, I would also add that you should probably write a song that actually, it doesn't suck. I don't know any other way to say it.
Agreed, but no, agreed, man. Like if you're gonna step into that, I don't know what you call it now, but step into that
Hallowed
window
ground
of opportunity to write a song that encapsulates America and how we were feeling at the time. It's kind of like I miss 9/12, and the only reason I miss 9/12 is because everybody had a flag. Everybody was flying flags. You couldn't find a flag to save your life. I mean,
Agreed.
I've always flown a flag to the extent that all my neighbors, my entire life, since Nick and I have been together, thought we were military some way, shape, and form, because I've always flown a flag. Because I love this country. I love being an American.
I do too.
And you don't get that anymore. Flag Day,
But it's
exactly.
what I
so
keep
Flag Day
getting
happens, and you get flags out.
Here's what I keep getting misconstrued for is being somebody that's like a fucking anarchist or something. I am not. This country was founded on my right to fucking disagree with the dickhead sitting across from me. And I use that term because if you are doing something that is that's benefiting me, we're going to be friends. But if you're doing something that is going to harm my life in some way, you're a fucking asshole. And I have no say in the end.
Agreed.
What gets voted on and what doesn't get voted on. And I stand by, I've studied human nature enough and know what people need and want to feel like I am far more qualified to sit there than half the people that are there. And most people in this country are. You, my dad, my mother, you could go on down the line of people who are far more qualified to sit there and make those decisions for people like them. That's what I'm getting to. Those people have nothing in common with you.
Yeah.
Stop worshiping. Stop making them some kind of idol. They're not. They're people just like you.
Yeah.
The only difference is Donald Trump has $6 billion now. His net worth almost doubled from when he was president.
Yeah.
What do you suppose he has in common with any of us? Nothing.
Nothing.
He says a lot of great things.
Into that. He was born into that wealth.
Of course he was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, that first 15 minutes.
No, but a lot of people don't realize that. Some people
me
think
right
that. Yeah. Okay.
What? That he's a self-made man?
He is
not a self-made man.
He doesn't know when to shut up. No, he's not. But some people think that, and they don't understand that he walked into. He was a trust fund baby.
And Daddy had to bail him out.
I did see a funny
many
and
times.
Oh yeah. So your joke last week we talked. Did you hear that Trump got shot? Well, neither did he. Right, which is funny. So I saw a meme with his son, and I think his son's Barron, if I remember right.
Yes.
And it was like, missed being Batman by that much, because Batman, Donald Trump, Bruce Wayne, right? It's like, I'm not big. I don't like. I mean, because it's a human's a human, right?
Whatever.
So
he's not
fucking
dead.
with
he's gonna be
the
fine.
fact that right. I know. Right, but it's just so that was funny to me. I don't particularly like all the nasty shit that people are doing about because he's a father, he's a brother, I don't know if he's a brother, but he's a father, he's a son. That's
If any fuckhead said,
granted, if Biden would have got shot,
sorry he didn't get shot. They're an asshole. Fuck you. I do not wish anybody to be dead.
Fuck you, absolutely.
Donald Trump makes life fun.
No,
I will give him that.
Unless they're child molester. Unless they're child molesters.
They deserve
child molesters.
They deserve whatever my friend here
Donald
said
Trump,
they deserve.
Yeah,
I agreed 100%.
Yeah, and see that's a nice way of looking at Trump. He makes it fun.
He does,
because
he shakes
really
it
some
up.
of the shit that he does, it's you just can't you just can't help but be like, okay, number one, it's like, what the fuck did he say?
Yeah,
like, does he believe that shit? But
I wonder.
And that was the comical thing about the Biden Trump debate, right? Because like you just kept wondering, does Biden really know he's here? Like, does Biden know he dropped out of the race? Like, honestly, does he know? Because I don't know if he knows or not. But that brings me to, you think so? You think he knows?
I think some days he knows where he's at and some days he doesn't know where he's at. I honestly think he's got dementia, and we've all known he's had dementia for the last 4 years. There's nobody in this country that, unless you've been living under a rock and you never heard him talk, here's a good thing for people to do. So anybody that's listening right now, do this for me. Pause.
Yeah, number one, thank you for listening right now. Thank you for listening right now. Thank you for listening
YouTube open. Thank you for listening right now.
Pause.
But pause the show, pop your YouTube, Google Joe Biden from 1988.
Okay.
Listen to him talk for about 90 seconds. Then Google Joe Biden from the debate with Donald Trump and listen to him talk for 90 seconds and tell me that's the same person. That's what I did. Joe Biden was a very sharp individual. Oh, yeah. He fucked Larry King up. I watched a whole Larry King with him like from 1992 or something. Oh, he fucked Larry King up.
Yeah.
He lit him up with law. He must have been a good lawyer because he was citing all these fucking laws and shit. And he was a smooth talker back then. But
I think,
he's old, man.
Right. And I think for the most politicians to get to where they are, we talked about this earlier, they're sociopaths because they have to be to get where they're at. They have to manipulate and maneuver and walk over people and all that kind of shit, slim shady stuff, all that kind of jazz. But they also have to be able to back it up. And so I just, and we've talked about this before, you and I, that there really just needs to be an age stop.
Agreed.
Like you don't need to be as old as he or Trump are.
Because here's the irony.
Office. You need to, it's like if you're,
Here's the irony now. Part of Trump's campaign was making fun of the fact that Joe Biden was the oldest presidential nominee in the history of the presidency. Guess who is now the oldest presidential nominee in the history of the presidency? Donald Trump.
Right.
So there is some irony there.
And the problem that and the other, but the one thing about that, which I will say, Trump's not a career politician. Kamala Harris, I don't think is a career politician, but Harris hasn't done shit. Like she's been an embarrassment, not as much as Joe because
she's dangerous.
She's overshadowed by Joe's fucking shenanigans.
You do not want her in office.
And like some of the stuff she's done in Arizona, it's like, no, it's like, so anyway, this portion of the show is brought to you by the Real Estate Guy. When you're ready to sell or buy, call the Real Estate Guy, 602-321-6188.
And I give him an overwhelming endorsement because he sold me my first house. So from a actual trusted buyer right here, I signed the papers with my own name. The Real Estate Guy is the shit.
I will let him know. So, boys and girls, as ADHD people we are, did you know that the Washington Redskins are being sued by the tribe that the chief is on the logo of, the Washington Redskins logo? Because I'm not fucking calling the Commanders bitches. It's the Washington Redskins. Exactly, because it was an honor to that tribe and honoring the chief of that tribe. And they are suing the NFL for doing what they did because all the fucking woke people decided that that logo needed to go away. But like Mike and I have discussed a couple days ago, he sent me a text and he's like, not allowed. So the Redskins logo is not allowed and the Cleveland Indians logo is not allowed.
That was it.
Right?
Yep,
which is bullshit because it's the tribe, man. Major League. You remember the movie Major League?
Oh, absolutely. Great movie. Fun here.
Okay. So the dude's name escapes me now. The guy that was talking, that did the commentating. Bob Uecker. Bob fucking Uecker, right?
American treasure.
Former St. Louis Cardinal catcher, I believe. Fucking A, American treasure. The dude was fucking lights out when it came to being a commentator on that movie. And just if you haven't watched that movie in forever, go watch it again because it's everything that's right with this world, and it's everything that's wrong with the woke people. So you can't have the Redskins logo. You can't have the Cleveland Indians logo. It's not like we're saying, yeah, okay, whatever. I was going to go somewhere. I can't go there. So you allow the Kansas City Chiefs, which is what is it? What is that? An arrowhead? Is that what they call that?
It's
the thing that you put on the end
it's
of
a warhammer,
the bow and arrow, and it
isn't it?
Pew, pew. Warhammer.
Isn't the Chiefs a warhammer?
Then you got the Braves with the tomahawk.
And they do the
think so.
they do
And
the
the Braves
Indian
have a
chant
tomahawk.
in the Brave stands. I want to
That's
ask
what I
Tony.
was gonna say.
I want to
The
ask
fucking
Tony
pro-
how he feels about that.
Yeah.
I really do, because he's a lot Native
because Tony's
American.
Native American.
Well, he's a lot. I'm not sure if he's 100%.
Okay, yeah,
but
absolutely. That
he
would
was
be-
raised in a Native American culture, right? I don't
Yeah, so
think
that would be
they're
great. That would be a
offended.
great person to chime in on this.
I could be 100% wrong, but
They're
I
not.
honestly
That's the
don't
thing.
think they're
They're-
offended. At least the Washington Redskins tribe is not offended, right?
It's a pride. It was a right because it was a pride thing. It was prideful. They were proud that their chief of their I don't know what tribe, but the chief of their tribe, the guy who led their people, like our president leads our people.
It was like they were still
their
going
chiefs
into
lead their
battle
people.
every
It was-
Sunday, right? That's the way they looked at it.
Right. It was an honor. Yes, honor, respect. It's like the white man, like it or not, and I don't really think that we devastated them, because let's face it, everything in the world, regardless of what continent you're on,
Oh, we fucked
it comes
them up.
down to battle. You
We
fight
fucked
for
them up.
land. You fight.
We had
Right,
guns,
but
they
we-
didn't.
But
We had
fucked
smallpox,
everybody
they
fucked.
didn't.
Right, but now I'm not saying everything we did was right.
We had
our
horses, they
ancestors, not
didn't.
we, not you and I. I'm not saying right. I'm not saying everything that the white man did was right or wrong. I'm just saying everything comes down to battles. That's why we, all of the ancestors left England, right? Because we were getting fucking crushed. So we came to America to start our own fucking shit.
We left for
So it works both
religious
hands. We got our ass
oppression
kicked
so
there,
we
so we
could
came over
oppress
here.
other people.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It takes one to know one, right? But what I'm getting at is the Redskins logo was an honor to that community, that tribe, whatever you want to call it. And I have nothing but mad respect. So if you're just hearing this, I'm not trying to be a dick.
No,
But
we are
it's
totally
legit.
two
It
of
was
the
a
most
respect
team
thing. It was an
people
honor
guys
thing,
you'll
like-
ever meet. Right?
Right. So
We don't give a fuck who
it's
you are.
Right. It was an honor thing. They still look at and they look at it as an honor, which is why they're suing the NFL to revert back to what it was, because it was an honor to them. It was an honor to their tribe, to their community, to their heritage. And the NFL and their fucking stupidity took it away. The NFL is a business who also just got sued because of Sunday NFL Ticket. They fucking monopolized that shit to such a grand scale that they're cutting checks to all former NFL Sunday Ticket subscribers. I'm waiting for mine, because literally probably since that started, there may have been 3 seasons that I didn't do it.
Oh, yeah, because you're a Giants fan.
But they're being sued. They got a class action lawsuit. Right. They had a class action lawsuit for that shit, which is what's going on with the Redskins and those people suing the NFL. The NFL just fucking stop. You're going to sell your shit regardless. You're going to sell out regardless, because guess what? It's legacy. It's heritage. It's tradition. What the Giants are going to get slammed for being Giants because they're too tall?
It's not even that, dude. It's the fucking lunacy, which is the word I used when I texted Chris. I said, this is more of the lunacy.
He did. Yeah.
Because my hometown are the Pontiac Indians. Okay. It's the Florida State Seminoles. Chris just said it's the Atlanta Braves. It's whatever all over the fucking country. And nobody is making fun of anything. I honestly think in this conversation, we are talking about people who were trying to do the right thing, to do exactly what Chris just described, which is to pay homage to a people that we thought we had wronged, without actually having wronged them. This is the only way that we could make it right, right? You're talking about a generation of people who named those teams after Indians after that was long said and done, as a homage to their tradition, so it could live on as well. It wasn't to say we fucked up a bunch of Indians and we put them on the side of our helmet and we went out and played football. That was not the intention at all.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says.
No, not at all. It was respect.
It was.
Right. It was a respect thing. And they, so much so that I remember in the 80s watching football, because the Redskins were huge in the 80s with the Joe Gibbs era and the Hogs. The offensive line was nicknamed the Hogs. And John Riggins, a Native American, fucking one of the best running backs that ever graced the field.
Agreed.
They would have representatives of the tribe there. at the stadium.
You're right. I
for
forgot.
pregame shit. Like they were always present.
I remember that now.
In their
You'd see 'em on
full-on
TV.
dress and the headgear. Right. Yes, it was a fucking full-on respect thing. So you're going to tell me that a respectful homage to a chief is bad, but you can sit there at a fucking baseball game. If you don't see me on TV here, I'm doing the tomahawk hawk, which is basically I'm fucking bashing your skull in and out with a tomahawk.
Yep.
Because that's what the Braves fan do.
The
They sit in the
whole
crowd and they
stadium.
fucking tomahawk chop,
Yes, they
tomahawk
do.
chop.
And they
What's
do the war
difference
cry.
of that than if you call yourself
Right?
right?
That's
fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
right.
The
which
whole
is, which
stadium.
is a mockery of it. Right.
It sounds
it's a
cool as
mockery
fuck, though.
because it's not indicative. It does, but it's not indicative of what they actually do in their. Like the Native Americans, man, are spiritual. They're in touch with everything. Those things they do, their dances they do. There's all purpose behind it. It's not just tomahawk chalk bullshit. There's reasons
Agreed.
for it. It's a beautiful culture, and the NFL and the sports world in general, all the fucking piss ants that think they should have a say are fucking with shit that they shouldn't be fucking with. Leave it alone. The Raiders. Why are the Raiders not affected? What do you think when you think of a Raider? I think of somebody who's going in and pillaging, raping and killing children,
pillaging.
men, and taking over a jungle. Right?
Yep.
It's a Raider.
Absolutely.
There's nothing positive about a Raider. There's nothing.
You're
right?
proving
Now,
you're
if it
proving
was
my
the
point.
Dandelions. Okay, well, nobody's gonna.
You're proving my point
Yes.
over. I love it. I
Totally.
mean, I'm
And this was-
not trying to stop you. I'm just interjecting and saying
yeah.
what he's doing, ladies and gentlemen,
No, I
is
know.
proving my
Yeah.
point over and over again. When you are being brainwashed into believing that the Cleveland Indians are a bad thing
Mhm.
and the Cleveland Guardians are a good thing, you are not thinking for yourself, which Chris and I
So
like to do
fucking
quite
stupid.
regularly. And we think, I wonder why you
Yeah.
can't be a Redskin or an Indian, but you can be a Seminole, or you can be an Indian at Mike's high school,
Yep.
or you can be a Kansas City Chief, or you can be an Atlanta
Or
Brave,
Blackhawk.
or you can be a
Mhm.
Blackhawk, another good one, thank you.
Yep.
Or you could be a Raider, which we
Mhm.
associate with
Mhm.
raping and pillaging because Chris and I like fantasy
Yep.
type shit when we were kids, and we
Yep.
are educated as to what a Raider really is. You know, you
Right.
gotta think for yourself
Vikings.
once in a while.
Vikings on.
Yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead. I like Vikings.
Vikings. Look at the Vikings. The history of the Vikings. What they do? What did Vikings do? They went
fuck
and
shit up.
they destroyed communities. They went exactly. Does that so? But the Vikings is fine, right? See, this is what Mike sent me. He sent me a picture of Aloud, which is the Chiefs, the Blackhawks, the Seminoles, the Braves, and then with their image, with their logos, and then not allowed next to it was the Redskins and the Indians, and then below it, here's an example of the lunacy of this current world, which is completely accurate because it's a
Well,
fucking
you
logo
just-
number one.
You just expounded on it by like probably 15 more examples, which is great. People need to hear that shit.
Yeah.
Don't be offended unless there's something to be fucking offended by. Do something positive. Go do something constructive.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. There's a thought.
Yep.
How about nobody
Yep.
gives a fuck about your opinion?
Exactly, and especially in something like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying in general. I'm saying
Especially-
about your fucking, I got my
Right.
feelers hurt, you know? Guess what? Nobody fucking cares
Right.
about your
Like
feelings.
when did we turn into this? No, and we turned into this fucking woe is me society. Like everybody points fingers. Everybody plays the blame game. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that I'm an asshole. I was raised by an abusive father. Who gives a shit? Who's not? It's just fucking move on, man. Everybody, therapy.
Oh,
Therapists, it's just therapists and lawyers are the biggest two fucking industries in Arizona. If you look at billboards and shit, man. And I've been to therapy. I'm not knocking therapy at all. Therapy works at many different levels for many different things.
Agreed.
Therapy got me to deal with some of the shit that I grew up with, but I've never
known
and
it
Mike
helped
knows
people
this.
too.
I've never been one of those guys that right, but I've never been point the finger blame game. I don't play that way. I have a sibling who that's all he does. It's nobody's fault. It's not his fault. It's everybody else's fault.
No, it's mine.
Guess what? Once you turn 18, and you're an adult, then you have the free will to do whatever the fuck you want. And 2 weeks after graduating high school, flew the coop, never went back because I didn't like the environment, didn't like where I was living, and didn't like how I was being raised. So out the door I went, never went back, and never blame shit on that. I am who I am because the way I was
Let me
brought
say
up,
something
good
real
or
quick.
bad or indifferent. Yes.
Before he goes any further, ladies and gentlemen,
Go ahead.
I knew Chris for a long time before I knew any of this part of his story. So to say that
Oh yeah.
he
This
ever
is true.
said my life was fucked up, nope. Chris has been Chris every day. He just moves forward. When he wakes up in the morning, he tries to do better than he did the day before. And the guy you see sitting there is the result of, from the time I met him until now, he's done a little bit better every day. So that's just living proof that blaming people and looking back and the whole woe is me and I got fucked and whatever. We all got fucked.
Yeah.
How does that help to go through that
Exactly.
every fucking day of your fucking life? I fell into that trap for a while, man. The whole depression thing,
Exactly.
and we've all been there for however many months or
Oh,
years
yeah.
or whatever. I mean, it happens to
Absolutely.
the best of us. But when I came out of it, that was
Yep.
my first thought was,
Everybody.
how is looking backwards helping anything? I can only fix what's right in front of me, right?
Yeah.
What I said 10 seconds ago, I
Yeah.
can't change.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yep.
We recorded it. I see the little red light. It's done.
No.
I can only fix it going forward.
Right.
And that's the other thing. You shouldn't be married to your
Yep.
ideas on a level that won't let you fluctuate. That's dangerous. And you also
Correct.
should be
Brilliant.
able to have intelligent, deep, well thought out conversations with someone in your life on a regular basis. Because too many people are walking around thinking
Agreed.
they got life all figured out and they never listen to the opinion of anyone else. I mean, that's part of the reason we're doing this podcast.
Agreed.
I respect your opinion. And you say shit all the time that
Yeah.
makes me go, oh, yeah. That's right. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's important to have that in your life.
Yeah. It is.
Because I think
And
part
it-
of the
it-
problem
Yeah. Well
that
said.
you are describing with people being the whole woe is me is a lot of people never had to struggle for
Mhm.
anything in their life. Look at someone that you know that has always
Right.
been a success and think about how much differently their life is than yours on a spiritual level and on a day-to-day interacting with your family level and interacting with your clients or just people in general. Think about how much different that guy that never had to struggle for anything, how he goes about his business. It's very rare for that guy to be like you.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And that's what I think some people don't get, that when you're like Trump, let's just use Trump, right? Because he's trust fund baby. So his entire upbringing was sheltered. There's nothing that he never wanted for anything. Because he didn't have to, right? So his struggles, now granted, he had to have struggles at some point in time because everybody struggles on some level.
Sure.
But his struggles are going to be different than our struggles because how he was raised and what he was raised around. And, you know, the wealthy, and I'm talking the wealthy, right? Not rich, but the wealthy. Like Trump's family was wealthy. Trump went to boarding school, right? So young age, plucked away from mom and dad, stuck into a foreign environment and spent 9 months a year,
Sure.
right? Being raised by other people. That's not the father's problem, you know. And there was decades, and there's the wealthiest families in the history of the world. That's how their children were reared. It was not. It was, as soon as they were old enough to talk and fucking walk and wipe their own ass, they were shipped.
Sure.
They fucking came back for holidays. That was it. And then fucking graduated high school. They're back home for X amount of time. Then they're shipped off to college. You know, and those are the ones, by the way, for the most part, that are running this country.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about who's really in touch with us and who's not in touch with us, because Mike and I and you, the bulk of our listeners here, yeah, Harris generated $81 million, and the bulk of that
Now it's
$81 million
over 100.
came from movie stars, celebrities, right? But it's all from movie stars, celebrities, athletes, privileged people who have 6, 7, 8 houses around the world and have $20 million in different bank accounts and some more offshore, unknown to everybody else, that could give a fuck who runs the country because they don't care, because it does not directly impact them or how they live. They just want to be able to say, oh, look, I'm George Clooney. I'm giving Harris $20 million because I think she'll be great for our country. Yay. He doesn't give a fuck. George Clooney lives in fucking Italy most of the time. He doesn't even live in America most of the time. So do you really think he gives a fuck who the president is? No, he doesn't. Robert De Niro. Love Robert De Niro as an actor. One of my all-time favorites, him and Pacino by all accounts. Fuck, dude, till I was 40 years old. Both of them, like, just if they'd probably be the only two people I'd be starstruck if I ran across. De Niro's a fucking asshole. De Niro has turned into a political piece of shit who can't keep his mouth shut. He has the world at his feet because he's in America, a capitalistic country. Yes, he did the work. Yes, he respected his craft and created a legendary status from a thespian standpoint. But he's mucking up his legacy by being political. Fucking stop being political. You're a fucking actor.
Agreed.
You're a running back.
But here's the only thing I'll say.
You're a fucking soap.
I agree with you. I know where you're going, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
But here's how I rectify it in my own head so that I can still like Ted Nugent.
Okay.
Because Ted Nugent has been running his fucking mouth about politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's people, I disagree with him on certain things, but the people that do not like Ted Nugent because of his politics, that will not listen to his music, are fucking idiots.
Right.
You have to be able to separate Ted Nugent from he will blow your fucking doors off a rock and roll stage. I don't care who you are or who you think you are. If Ted Nugent decides that Ted Nugent's going to blow your band off the stage, you're fucking done. Because I've seen him 5 times, and I don't remember anybody that opened for him. I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
I do not remember the first band of any of those 5 shows.
Yeah.
Because that's Ted. He's like, your fucking jaw's on the ground and you're drooling because you don't realize you haven't blinked for like 7 minutes. It's the same thing with what you're talking about. People have some skin in the game and an obligation to, once again, I'm trying to get people to realize you got to use your fucking brain. That's why it's in there. You know, you got to use it every now and then. Yeah. It's up there and it's working and it's keeping your blood flowing and it's making your body function, and it tells you when to shit and piss and sleep and eat, but it doesn't tell you when to think. You got to do that for yourself. Yes, it tells you to breathe, thank God, or a lot of people be dead. Yeah. Because a lot of people are asleep and they do not realize it.
Right. I sleep with the and I'll still watch De Niro's. I don't like how he's one of those ones that keeps saying if so and so gets elected, if so and so gets elected,
I've seen those clips.
Fucking leave then. I still watch. I'll still watch his movies and shit like that. So I'm not so like fuck you. I'm never anti De Niro. I just you made your living in America. You made your legacy in America.
That's why I
created that. You're wealthy beyond belief. Right. You're wealthy beyond belief for people like us to understand because you're in America. So if you don't like it, you have the means to leave.
Absolutely.
Just fucking leave. If you don't like it, just leave. Who's keeping you here? And that goes back to the George Clooney thing. Legit, he doesn't live in America, I think, more than 3 months a year.
Well,
so who gives a fuck? I don't
how many
care
people?
About George Clooney.
How many people
funny
said
actors, good shit?
If Obama gets elected, I'm fucking leaving the country. If Trump gets elected, I'm fucking leaving the country. If Biden gets elected, I'm fucking leaving the country. I mean, how many times has this gone on? And guess how many of those people still live in America?
That's my
99.9. I agree with you. That's
all of them. Yeah.
Nobody's going
That's the
anywhere
thing, it's
because
just-
they made their
just-
money here.
No. Right. And you can have your opinion, right? But have your opinion and move on. Just
Right.
move on. Like Clooney relishes in shit that he shouldn't relish in. You know, just have your opinion, move on. You don't. If it's that big thing, if you're part of the problem, don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. So if you don't like how it's being run. If you don't like how
Exactly.
shit's going, George Clooney, run for president. Run for fucking office. Ronald Reagan, prime example. Fucking, actor. Didn't like how shit was being done, so he ran for office. And he won. And he ran again, and he won. He ran again, and he won. Then he was a governor. Then he was fucking president.
Unless you
And,
believe the
by
conspiracy.
all accounts, he did a good job.
Oh, no, he did a terrible job.
What's the conspiracy? Which one?
That's when everything changed.
Reagan?
Yeah. Don't you remember he's the one that fired all
Ah.
the air traffic controllers
Yeah.
and tried to bust the unions and let fucking the rich get richer and gave corporate tax breaks and let them move their fucking factories overseas, and America was out of work. And it wasn't until Clinton.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, don't get my dad started on Ronald Reagan. He might crucify you. Ronald Reagan about ruined his
Okay.
life. Yeah. On the
I was too young
surface,
probably to really realize the impact.
the things that he said sounded good, but none of it really worked.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we're doing
Okay.
right now. That's my challenge to everyone,
Gotcha.
excluding the $1.68 gas. Inflation was coming anyway.
Right.
If you study economics, the tax cuts that Obama and Trump and Biden, he didn't really, I don't think he made any changes to the tax code, but it was the 8 years prior to that we came up on in 2023, 2024. We're going to feel it into 2025. I remember the economist on one of the podcasts I was listening to explaining this right down to how it was going to happen and when it was going to happen. And guess what? That's what happened. We saved a lot of money
Here it is.
on paper and we paid for it later.
Yeah.
Why? Because everything is in 4-year cycles. That's why this system is broken. Nobody gives a fuck after 2.5 years because now they're working on their next election cycle. Everything's on the back burner.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
We're running for office again.
Mm-hmm.
The system's fucking broken. Let's just start there.
Yep. It is. No, I agreed, 100%. That's the only, and that's one of the things like we talked about before that the one silver lining with Trump's running mate is he's young, and young is good because you need. Like Harris, there's stuff out there that Harris could give a fuck about the youth and the the 21, 22, 25 years old and less, because why would she? They're not going to vote for her. She's
She
it's
did
just
some
not.
very
She was
scary
diddling a
things
dude
as a
that was
prosecutor,
20 years
too.
her elder. Yeah. Oh yeah. She's just not. I don't know. I don't want to talk about those idiots anymore. I'm worried. It's a little. I've never been a big political like fuck this sucks type thing, because you and I both know, we've talked about it, and most of the people know that the presidents are just figureheads. They don't run anything. They don't make really any significant impact on the world, aside from their presence. Congress and Senate are what passes laws, and then the president will have ultimate say in some things, but
When you have the Rockefeller
nobody's giving
family
Biden the codes,
estimated
No-
net worth at $350 billion, I'm going to give you one guess who's making decisions.
right.
That's everybody listening. I'm just giving you one guess.
And here's the thing.
I have all the toys,
Right.
and you have no
Uh-huh.
toys, and you want to play with some toys.
Yep.
Well,
Right.
I believe you only have one option. That's who's running your country. But
Yep.
they don't, like Chris said, they don't talk. We need a bunch of puppets
that
up
goes-
there. And that's what they are. They're puppets.
No.
They're bought and sold.
And that goes back to that thing that I mentioned earlier. They're the ones, the wealth that runs deep, and they are walking, talking, wiping their ass. They're shipped to boarding school, and they're groomed, and
Yes.
they're molded into what will benefit the family. They don't have their own identity. The family is their identity. And then once they reach a level of adulthood where they can be put into place, they're put into place like the Matrix. You plug it in. Dunk. Here you go. Johnny's going to run the East Coast now.
You're super
Jenny's going to
accurate.
run the West Coast, and that's how it's going to be.
And if anybody wants to further their
And so it's our
education of this, go listen to Tulsi Gabbard, who is a true American hero, did several tours of duty as a medic in Iraq, became a state senator in Hawaii, and speaks a lot of truth to exactly what Chris was just
Nice.
talking about. The reason that she can't get in is because she doesn't have the lineage that it takes or someone to vouch for her, because she says things that make people uncomfortable. And you can't say things that make people uncomfortable. I want to challenge everybody to take the next week. If you watch the news, I'm sorry, but if you do, pay attention to what they're telling you. Right? Are they really saying anything? Is anybody really saying anything about what they're going to do, how things are going to go?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So somebody like Tulsi is going on all these podcasts. This is back when Trump was running the first time. And she's saying things that are making people uncomfortable. And all of a sudden, she's just excommunicated from her entire party. The Democrats didn't want anything to do with her, and she's obviously not going to be a Republican. So you can't do anything because we've been sold down the river without a van, as Chris likes to say, that this is a two-party system in this country.
Without a van.
So I also challenge people to go read the Constitution and get back to me on where that two-party system is talked about in the United States Constitution. I'll wait.
Right? Yep.
I'll be waiting like patience on a monument.
It's true, though. No, it's true, though.
It's an
It's absolutely
illusion.
true.
There's so many
All right,
things
well,
that are just a fucking illusion.
Yeah, everything's illusion. Yep. We just, that's why I think that, we're living in a world that is ever changing. It's ever evolving. The advancement of social media has desensitized us across the board with everything, regardless of what it is, right? And there's no shock and awe anymore. It's one of those things where it's kind of a drag for the artistic side of our world, right? The writers and the singers and the novelists and the screenwriters, and there's nothing new. There's no new ideas. Everything's redone or rehashed or replayed, or there's not original thoughts anymore.
No kids will ever see
And if there is
Kiss
an original thought
for the first time in their makeup.
No, right. It's just
What I'm saying is that was
it's
huge
sad
for you and
in
I.
the sense that it was way huge, and I didn't even like Kiss. I liked Destroyer, and that was it. But I think they're one of the most overrated bands ever. But that's just me. But it's true though, when the Kiss became Kiss because of the fucking marketing.
Sure.
And think about that, boys and girls. The
They
Kiss
had great
Army
songs, though, too.
had more.
I know you don't like them.
members
but they
in
had
the
great
Kiss
songs.
aren't they did, but they had more they had more members in the Kiss Army than they had album sales at one point in time in their career, because they were geniuses of marketing. And this is marketing before the internet. This is
long
word
before.
of mouth shit. This is shock and awe. Right. None of that shit was in place.
Fire
So for
breathing,
them to
blood
have reached
spitting.
that level with and that's all it was. It was all fucking happenstance and fucking rumor mill and the telephone game, right? Because you saw Kiss live, back then, and then you would fucking tell your buddy, holy shit, because the only real thing that we ever saw on TV when it related to artists were the late shows, right? Because during the day you can't have a band on during the day. So it was all late night television. And Saturday Night Live, back in its heyday when it was actually a fucking good program to watch, it opened the door for so many artists and comedians.
Oh,
and
that was a
actors.
huge deal.
Just right. It was a gateway, man. You're on Saturday Night Live. Holy shit, you've made it.
Yep.
Now it's just like, oh fuck, you know, it's. I don't even, we didn't watch it in years because it just got so bad. But that's the thing. There's nothing original anymore. So it's. I keep waiting for something original come, you know, and this little. It's hard because it's just. Everybody wants to remake the old shit because they don't have any new ideas. It's the same with movies and TV shows and, like, you know, Suits, great fucking TV show, right? Great fucking TV show.
Absolutely.
So they're going to do a spinoff because they have no other good ideas. Like, come on, man. Like, fucking come on. Like, you know, to Mike's homage, you know, fucking sit down, smoke a bong, and come up with some ideas, man.
Absolutely. That's
know,
what it's for.
Fucking, you know, evolve, figure out something that is unique and it's a drag that they just don't have it anymore. There's nothing that is going to it's gonna be hard to change the world just because it's hard to change the world because there's so many ideas have been there, done that, you know. Like if the Beatles came out today, would they still be the Beatles? You know?
Yes, because the songs are great.
Because what a record, right? But
they would have been
here's the
recorded
thing,
with
would a
modern
label
technology.
invest money behind them, right? But they'd only be one song at a time, right? Because nobody gets behind an artist anymore. They get behind a song. God forbid you get behind an EP, you have to get behind a song. So you have really good bands that are never going to be mainstream because they don't have that one catchy song, but their catalog on a whole is a good catalog. It's solid music. It's, you know, but you just don't have that lightning flash.
I've thought about this
because,
and it's the way you just hit the nail on the head. It's a different world. So when you and I were putting Nemesis together, we didn't have 7 different Xboxes and fucking Sega and the internet and computers and tablets and fucking, oh Jesus, it gets overwhelming, right? We had our guitars and in your case, a microphone and a pad of paper and a fucking tape recorder, children, a tape recorder. It actually was a cassette and it went in the little box there and you push the button and it sounded like shit. But it actually recorded what you did. And that's all we had. So our entertainment was to rehearse incessantly and get good as a band and go out and entertain people. I don't live in the city.
And listen to the rehearsal tapes over and over again, trying to figure out, okay.
Yeah. Right. So not only did we rehearse incessantly, then we spent hours listening to the tapes and saying, okay, we need to tighten up that spot and that spot. And we'd make notes. And these fucking kids today, dude, I've seen it with my own eyes, and so have you, because you raise children and grandchildren. They love their games and their tablets and their shows and I just don't see my mom made me go outside to put this in perspective, the level of commitment and obsession that I had to music. My mother had to make me go outside because she was concerned that I was getting too far trapped in my own head. That's how many hours a day that I would have played guitar had she let me, right? I had to make deals like you can practice a couple hours a day or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I see these kids playing these games at that same...
The little man has stuff he watches. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
So
but here's one thing about the kids in gaming though. Because the military has a massive use for kids that can play games now because, you know,
they fly drones.
We just watched a movie called Land of Bad. Right. Land of Bad is a great movie. Russell Crowe's in it. And he's somewhere in the United States while this group of soldiers is somewhere else in the world. And they're basically watching them from the spy plane, high-tech surveillance, all that kind of shit, and they're fucking striking, dropping bombs and shit based on what's going on.
Well, I'm not
And,
saying they're,
you know,
I'm just saying that's why you're not
That's-
getting any new good
no,
art
I'm not either.
or music,
Oh yeah,
because there's not
oh,
that
yeah.
kid like I was and you
Oh,
were
yeah. No, I
sitting
agree
in
with
their
you.
bedroom going, I want to be a rock star.
Mm-mm.
They're there, but they're not there at
Yeah.
the frequency
my thing, yeah.
that they were when we were kids.
No,
You know, like 1 or 2 out of 10 kids
No.
played something
Agreed.
when I was a kid. They were a drummer, they were a bass player, they wanted
Yeah.
to be a singer.
yeah.
You know, out of 10
Right.
kids, at least 2 of them wanted to do something. The weird thing around here is it was more like 4 or 5
Right,
or
but
6.
now you go back, yeah.
That's why there's so many musicians that came out of Central Illinois.
But that goes right. But that goes back to the schools. They've cut the programs. you know.
Agreed. First thing they do is
Everything's
cut art.
Everything music's out. You know, drama's out. All that kind of shit goes away. You know.
He's back.
Oh, did he cry? Oh yeah, little Jake got little man for school, and then he cried when he had to drop him off because he had to come back over here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well,
Chris was having a conversation
I
with
know. He
Sergeant
doesn't understand.
Jake Dunham of the United States Marine Corps.
Sergeant
There he
Dunham.
is.
Yeah,
See, now we
Sergeant
see him.
Dunham.
If you're watching the video,
Yeah.
you can see him.
There he is. Now you can see him. What? This is episode 39, son. Treinta Nueve. And we're gonna wrap it up because you have to show me how to hook everything up. So we gotta
Okay.
get doing to that because
What was Jake? Was he
when Nikki
episode
comes
9?
home, we gotta go do our thing. So he was up. Yeah, Jake. You remember what episode you were?
I think he was 9.
He does 2.
No,
I
he
don't think you were
wasn't
that
2. He was our first guest.
Mike thinks you were 9, episode 9. You were our first guest.
I think
Yeah.
it was 9.
So with that being said, people, yeah, we're going to sign off. Tomorrow is always a better day. Opinions expressed in this podcast are just of Mike and I's, not anybody else's. So if you have a problem with it, fucking listen anyway and subscribe.
Take it up with management. You're looking at management.
That's just what say. Yeah. Jake was episode 9. So if you wanna go back into the history of our show, you can listen to episode 9 and have a really good perspective of Marine.
Absolutely. It was a great
life
interview.
in and out of the Corps. Yeah. So, all right, boys and girls. Remember, tomorrow's a better day. You're not alone. If you're struggling, depressed, all that kind of jazz, reach out. Somebody loves you. You're gonna wake up tomorrow. Somebody's still gonna love you. So don't be that person that runs that and leaving a vapid hole in somebody else's soul. It's just not a good thing. Everything's better. Everything will be better the next day.
Absolutely.
And don't get fucking so wrapped up in politics and shit, and don't fucking get all pissed off because somebody doesn't like your post about Harris or somebody doesn't like your post about Trump. It's just fucking stop being such a pissant, immature dumbass.
Yes.
We're all entitled to our opinion. It's not the end of the world. Mike and I are a prime example.
Yes.
We both have opinions. We still love each other. We have normal conversations. We don't hate each other.
No.
No matter what he says or what I say, at the end of the day, we have our friendship, and that's a bond that will last us till the day we die. So if we can do that, you can do that. And there's no point. Like all I saw yesterday was Harris stuff, which cool. And you know what? I don't like Harris, but guess what? I didn't comment on any one of them. And guess what? It didn't bother me not commenting on any one of them.
Yeah. So
And there's some stuff that dropped on Trump I won't comment on because I don't care. It's
like real quick, I was just going to say, you heard
Yeah.
Chris and I just talk for an hour and a half. We're at 1:33 about politics. I said some
Mhm.
shit he didn't agree with.
Mhm.
He obviously said some shit I didn't agree with because that's called being human. And
Right.
that'll be the end of it. Like, he ain't going to be mad at me, and I'm not going to be mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to help him hook his
Nope.
new equipment up. That's what we're moving on
Nope.
to next, ladies and gentlemen. So that's how life can work. You have a simple debate
Yep.
and you move on. You don't hold a grudge for fucking the rest of your life because somebody likes somebody
Yep.
you don't. That's just called being stupid.
Exactly.
Thank everybody for listening.
Nothing could be further from the truth. Well said, Mike. And I'll see you on episode 40.
4-0. Roger. Over and out.
Right?
You
40
got it.
is coming up next.
Peace.
See you later, people. All right. Peace out.